Hello and welcome. I'm Jesse with Nursery Natives, and we're here in Bisset Park in the beautiful Radford, Virginia, standing just 15 yards from the New River, which is known to be the second oldest river in the world. And today we'll be sharing the air with a longtime friend of the New River and a giant specimen known as the sycamore tree.
I'll take Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains in my dreams, from the foothills to the beach, and I'm flowing by, and I call home.
To help us connect and better understand the roots of this enormous native tree, we have a truly special guest here today. As a faculty member and greenhouse manager, Stephanie Huckestein has cultivated an enormous wealth of knowledge, sowing seed after seed with the next generation of growers. Stephanie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
We are looking at this amazing specimen of a sycamore tree. The scientific name of sycamore is Platanus occidentalis, and it is in the Platanaceae family of plants. This particular tree is native to areas from Canada all the way down to Florida over toward Texas. And it's a prominent tree here in Radford, Virginia.
Yeah, it sounds really significant to this area.
Absolutely.
What is it that you love most about this tree?
I love the massive size of this tree. It's just such an impressive tree. And particularly in the winter time, it stands out with its mottled bark and its massive crooked branches. I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, so the bark, that kind of camouflage aspect is kind of easy to show up.
Absolutely.
What else would we might look for if we wanted to try to find this tree as we're walking down Main Street?
Sure, it's hard to not notice this tree because of its massive size. That's one thing. And then, of course, the mottled bark is another. So this tree, it grows very fast, and so it sheds its bark quickly as new growth happens. And so you'll notice toward the bottom, the bark is usually darker. Toward the very top of the tree, it's much more white, and you get greens and browns, multiple colors of the bark and mottled appearance. And so it gives the camouflage look that's just very unique. And so that's one of the main identifying characteristics of the plant. Also, its large size, its crooked branching. It has very wide spreading branches that are quite crooked, so that's another one.
So, Stephanie, I noticed you have a little cutting here. I'm wondering if you can tell us more about leaf shape, structure, and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So the sycamore has what's referred to as a simple leaf, being that it's a single leaf. And often people get them confused with maples because it sort of has the shape of a maple and that it has lobes and sinuses. The sinuses are very shallow. A distinguishing characteristic of the sycamore is that it has a pubescence, so it has little hairs on the leaf, particularly along the backside of the leaf and along the leaf vein. So as the leaf matures, you'll find the pubescence just along the leaf veins.
Adds like a little bit of a white color to that as well.
Correct.
As well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're here in Bisset Park, right along the path by the New River, and standing beside one of the most amazing specimens here locally, very recognizable. And I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about this hollowed out feature, which I understand is pretty unique to the species. Can you share a little about that?
It is. It's really exciting because it's a great place to go. You could actually walk inside the tree, which is super cool. But this is very common of old sycamores. I don't know the age of this sycamore, but sycamores will live to be 200-300 years old. I think there's recordings of ones 500 to 600 years old. But it's very common for sycamores at an older age to get a fungus that eats at the heartwood, the inside of the tree, but it doesn't kill the tree. And so that results in this hollowed out of the middle of the tree.
Yeah, and it's very inviting. Like, I've stepped inside it several times, and
Absolutely.
I wonder, do wildlife like to make this a home?
Sure, and so that's one of the good things about this hollowing out, because it acts as a perfect den for black bears and mammals will go up into the tree, raccoons and such, and it gives a great home for a variety of different animals.
That's awesome.
Also, an interesting fact is that you could tap sycamores for their syrup, just like you do a maple tree. You could tap sycamores and collect the sap and boil it down to make syrup.
Yeah,
Sycamore syrup.
I heard it's quite tasty too.
Yes.
We might have to try that sometime.
That'd be awesome.
Since they are in abundance here in Radford, Virginia.
Absolutely.
So we wanted to show you a couple more places in Radford where the sycamore tree shows up. And right now we're here behind the Glencoe Museum at the train Overlook. And there's actually a great one that's sitting right over top of us. And you can see the bark here, and then this wonderful canopy that's offering shade to us over top of the train Overlook. And Stephanie, I know we also got a nice little cutting here of the scent carp, also known as a buttonball. Sometimes the tree is called a buttonball tree. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yes, this is the fruit of the tree, and it's referred to as a syncarp, and it is lots of little seeds, winged seeds that are pressed together. And so as this ripens throughout the season, the seeds will either be eaten by birds or taken by the wind, or the syncarp will float on water. So that's another dispersal method of the seeds.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and there's a humongous one right here. And that's got to be, I don't know how old that is, but can you tell us a little bit about how old the sycamore tree usually lasts?
So they usually will grow to the age of 200 to 300 years old. There are records of them being 500 to 600 years old.
Wow.
So pretty impressive old tree. And they just continue, they'll grow about 100 feet tall. But they will continue to grow in girth. And so, as mentioned, they are one of the widest trees in diameter on the East Coast, which is super cool.
Yeah, and as you can see, they don't just grow along the river. This one has taken root right beside the train tracks, and there's several of them. Actually, one of the legends of Radford is just on the other side of the Mary Draper Ingalls statue. I know we can't see it from here, but maybe we can bring you there in a little bit. Until next time, stay rooted, stay rad, and stay ready for more from Nursery Native.